Greetings, folks. This is Victor Haskins. In this episode, we're going to discuss how to use a recording device, any recording device, as a powerful tool to get the most out of your practice. Let's investigate. Let's cut right to the chase. Why am I telling you to use a recording device during your practice sessions? Well, let's think about the nature of music. Music is a time-based art, which means that in order for it to be done impactfully, the way it was meant to be done, we have to be completely invested in the here and now, the present. We want to practice the way we want to perform, right? We will perform the way we practice. So, when we're practicing, we need to practice being in the moment, focusing on right now, not worrying about what's coming up, not worrying about what we just did, but worrying about performing our best at this particular moment. Now, if we're practicing, we're trying to fix things and improve ourselves, which means we do need to think about what just happened. The problem is, we can't really effectively give 100% of ourselves to right now and 100% of ourselves to the past. It's not possible to be two places at once. So some of our attention will be thinking about, well, how did I just play that phrase? While all of our attention needs to be on right here, right now. And so that's where the recording device comes in. When you use a recording device, the recording device can remember everything that you just played. So you can focus 100% of your attention on giving the best performance you can right now. And after you finish, you can then review your performance on the recording device, and that will allow you to put 100% of your attention on the past, because you're not going to be playing while you're listening to the recording. Additionally, as you're listening to the recording and critiquing yourself, you'll be able to, especially for trumpet players, rest your chops and let the physical part of your body relax and rest while you are using your ears and your mind to problem solve and figure out how you can do better the next time through your exercise or whatever lick you're trying to play. So I'm going to do an example of it right now. I'm going to play a phrase, and then based on what I hear from the recording, which I'm obviously going to play back here on camera, I'm going to be able to say, well, maybe I want to change these specific things, or I want to do this differently. So here, I'm going to use the memo app on my phone. I mean, every phone has one of these, and if it doesn't, then you could download one for free, I'm sure. And even on your computers, there are free audio capture apps. It's just a matter of doing some searching. It shouldn't be that difficult to find, though. So I'm just going to hit record, and then I'm going to be off. I'm going to play something, and we're going to listen to it, and I'll do a verbal critique of what I want to do differently, maybe. Here we go. Okay, let's listen back to that now. Here we go. Okay, well, already I think I want to change a couple things. Maybe I want to change the way that boo ba da da squeak ba ba da as opposed to squeak ba, right? So instead of it being squeak ba da da, right, I want to go boo ba da da squeak ba 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 ba. And instead of maybe just holding that note, maybe I want to like kind of scoop it down a little bit. Ba ba, you know. So let's see how that sounds. Now that I know what I just played and how it felt, I can figure out specifically how I want to change different parts of it so it feels different. And once again, I'm just completely invested in performing in the now. I'll figure out what happened later. Alright, let's hear what we got. Okay, And even then, on those scoops, maybe I didn't want to do both of them scoop. Maybe I wanted to like scoop them a different way. I wanted it to feel differently. I thought that would sound a certain way when I heard it in my head, but then now that I'm hearing what I actually did, I want to do it differently. So maybe I'll make some other changes here. All right, and that's different again. But let's listen to it. Okay, so I've just done that phrase 3 different ways, and each time I know how it felt because I was in the moment, feeling it, hearing it, thinking about it, and then afterwards I can hear what the final effect was. I can say, oh, okay, that little growl at the beginning, I kind of like that. I like the shortness of that other note. I'm still not sold on those the scoops of how I want to end that phrase there. But I can now tweak those things, and every time I can make a note of here's how it felt to do it this way, and maybe I don't want to do it like that again, or maybe I do want to do it like that again, so I can remember that. So recording yourself gives you a record of the past, so that way you can focus on how you feel in the moment, and then you can review exactly what went on in the past with, once again, 100% of your mind. And that makes your practice sessions more efficient and more effective. And of course, as you saw in between takes, in between me playing and recording myself and listening, I had that time to listen and let my chops rest. So if I was playing maybe something that was more rigorous for my chops to play, I would have that time to rest, let the blood get flowing back into my lips and whatnot, and just give myself a mental break from actually producing and allow myself time to analyze what I sound like and what the aggregated effect of the choices I've made. Similarly, if I wanted to change something with like dynamics, say I'm going to play my C major scale, I want to go from C, and at the octave, I want that to be the loudest point, so I'm going to crescendo from piano to forte, and then back down to piano as I come back down the scale. So say I do that, I can determine whether or not I was able to effectively make that crescendo and decrescendo happen. So let's hear what that sounds like as I record myself and listen back to it. Here we go. Okay, let's listen back to it and hear how I did. Okay, I heard that. Not much of a crescendo, was there? There wasn't much of a crescendo. And you know how that can work out sometimes when you think you're doing something on this side of the horn. You're going to really have to exaggerate it so on the other side of the horn, the audience side of the horn, it actually comes across the way that you're intending it to come across. Okay, and until you really get what that sounds like and what that feels like to achieve that, you won't really know it. You'll think you're working real hard to do your dynamics, and there was hardly any change to my ears on that recording there. I could really exaggerate that more. You won't ever really figure that out until someone tells you, a teacher or a band director or someone else who's listening to you, is like, who knows what it's supposed to sound like, tells you, oh, was that really forte? Was that really piano? Did you really get down there? Did you really get up there in dynamic and in volume? And of course, also thinking about articulations. Did I intend to articulate it that way? Are the articulations even the way I want them to be? Was I intending it intending to have even articulations? There's all these things to think about that if I'm just thinking about dynamics, well, obviously, that's kind of the main point of this exercise I'm doing right now, is to make this dynamic crescendo and decrescendo, but at the same time, I can also listen to these other elements. Now, the thing I'm actively thinking about is dynamics, but the other things don't necessarily fall by the wayside, but they are involved in every time we're going to play. You know, we're thinking about time, pulse, rhythm, pitches, intonation. All these things are always in play. But we want to get the most out of what we're doing, so maybe we focus on one element, like dynamics in this case. But that doesn't mean that the other elements of articulation and how even the notes are is not in play, because it is. So recording myself allows me to, once again, put so much of my attention into what just happened while I have time and the energy and the attention to give to that, versus while I'm playing, I just want to be invested in connecting with the horn, connecting with the sound, connecting with my imagination. That's the most important thing, because we want to practice being in the moment. One more time. With feeling. Okay, let's hear what we got that time. With feeling. Okay, I think we reached forte, but here's once again being nitpicky. I feel like the decrescendo was more gradual and was more evenly distributed across that descending scale, and the crescendo kind of didn't really happen until halfway up the scale. All right, and of course you can go back and listen to it yourself and hear if you heard that. But to me, it could have been more gradual and more evenly distributed across the ascending part of the scale, the same way it happened on the descending part. And once again, that's what the recording tells us. It doesn't lie. It tells you exactly what happened. So I could have thought, yeah, I made the crescendo happen, and I did. I did get from piano to forte to piano. But how did I get there? And that's where you start to really kind of polish up that gem and figure out, did I make this perfectly even from piano to forte and perfectly even from forte back down to piano? Did I... Yeah, that's basically what I want to say with that. So, I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys think about using a recording device on your phone. Once again, I mean, people have their phones on them. If you have a phone, if you're watching this on your phone, maybe you always have your phone on you, so you always have a recording device available to practice with. Of course, you can use different digital audio workstations that are available on your computer. There are free versions of those. There's plenty of resources available about here, I mean, especially if you're watching this video. So use them to your advantage, because recording is so useful for you to be able to hear what you're actually doing, so you can actually fix the things that you think need to be fixed. So once again, I hope that was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section down below. I appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, creating daily content, and I hope you share this with anyone who you might feel could use this advice about using a recording device and they're not sure how to do that, how to implement it. It's really simple. You just need to hit record and hit play. Nothing expensive, nothing fancy. It's just simple, and it helps you improve yourself. Thank you.